everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another lore video. Today's character is very old in established lore. So much so that the lore surrounding him has been retconned many times. With that being the case, we are going to follow the more current canon. The character in question is the great enchanter himself, Constant Drachenfels. So without further ado, let's begin. Constant Drachenfels is an old and powerful necromancer and demonologist. He claims to have been active for over 15,000 years, before the Old Ones even came to the Warhammer world, being a member of a somewhat Neanderthal-like human tribe. Not much is known of his life with this tribe, save that he grew old with them. And as he grew sick due to his old age, he was left to die by his tribesmen. He feigned his death and managed to murder an on-passing member of his tribe. And interestingly enough, he somehow managed to absorb the life essence of the now dead tribesman, which allowed him to extend his life. His body, however, still rotted. Yet with his newfound magical abilities, he continued to extend his life essence and create new bodies out of the remains of his victims to continue to look somewhat human. He would repeat this process many times, sapping the life energy of his victims and creating new bodies every time his current one would rot away. As time progressed, he was able to develop his magical abilities to the highest levels possible, even arrogantly considering himself to be superior to the Chaos Gods, calling them undisciplined amateurs. At some point, he would establish and name a fortress after himself. This is the infamous Castle Drachenfels. And from there he would continue to perform his atrocities, much of which are unknown due to his tendency of leaving no survivors and destroying anything in his path which would stand in his way of extending his already unnaturally long life. He would continue to build his strength up over the years, and eventually find himself at the command of an army of greenskins who presumably worshipped him as a god. From his castle, he and his armies would strike out into the lands which would eventually be known as the Empire, wreaking havoc wherever he roamed. However, eventually he would gain the attention of Sigmar Heldenhammer, who had just managed to unite the human tribes. Sigmar and his armies would manage to repel the greenskin invaders all the way back to Castle Drachenfels itself. And it is here where the greenskin armies were finally defeated, and Sigmar managed to defeat and destroy the body of Drachenfels. However, it would seem that the spirit of Constant Drachenfels would not be destroyed, but rather weakened, and after 1,000 years he was able to fully restore himself, where he gathered an army of undead and demons and marched upon Bretonia, to the city of Bavaron. He would quickly destroy the city garrison, and then demanded tribute from the nobles of Bavaron, promising that their lives would be spared if they paid the tribute. However, once tribute was paid, the nobles would be quickly murdered, and Constant would return to his castle, where after a few decades he would put his latest plan to work. He had publicly renounced all the evil he had done, even going as far as to appear to the court of the Emperor Carolus himself, begging for forgiveness. And what seems to be the most interesting part about this is people actually believed him. Emperor Carolus actually believed that Constant really wished for redemption and would be a worthy ally to the Empire. But from everything that we've learnt of this character already, we know that this was not his plan. For not long after gaining the trust of the Imperial Court, he invited the whole court, including the Emperor himself, for a feast at Castle Drachenfels. This feast was later known as the infamous Poison Feast, as his guests were poisoned and paralyzed, and there they saw their children, which they had brought with them for some reason, tortured and murdered. Then the members of the Imperial Court, still paralyzed, were left there to starve to death and rot away just as the feast that was prepared in front of them. And once again, Constant Drachenfels would rise in power. His reign of terror would continue until a group of adventurers led by Oswald von Koningswald and Genevieve Dieudonné apparently managed to slay the ancient evil once and for all, and the current emperor sending a massive army to finally rid the garrison which protected the ancient castle. However, the castle was left undamaged at Oswald's request, as he wished to keep control of it for some reason or another, with the castle now forming part of Ostland. Some years later it was revealed that Constant was not actually slain, but rather he and Oswald formed a pact. It would be made to seem that Oswald had actually slain Constant, when in reality he only feigned his death. And eventually a great plan was put in motion. You see, Oswald gave some sort of life to the abandoned castle, and hired an actor to write and direct a play based on his supposed heroic defeat against Constant Drachenfels. When this play was completed, Oswald then invited the Emperor Karl Franz himself, his son and heir apparent, all the Elector Counts, and other high-ranking officials of the Empire, whom would form the audience for the play's premiere. And during the play, Constant once again reappeared. His intention was to destroy the hierarchy of the Empire and take over the Empire itself. Many of the audience would fall that day. However, with Sigmar's blessing, Constant was finally put down once again. His castle was finally razed, and it would seem that Constant Drachenfels was finally destroyed for good. However, during the end times it would seem that a powerful being was resurrected once again. He is solely known as the Nameless, and many speculate that he is Constant Drachenfels. And that, my friends, is the end of our lore video. I understand there's a bit of a cliffhanger there with the Nameless, but I believe that he deserves his own lore video. There will also be some speculation videos coming out in the future regarding Constant himself, as I feel there's a lot more than just a simple lore video. But thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all again very soon.